Hello and welcome to the G Money Podcast. We are here and we are live and we are in the basement. We've been waiting for this day for a long time and we are here. This is episode number 1. I'm here with my guys, Joe and Jut. Joe is going to be my engineer, Jut is going to be the shit for brains, and together we make the G Money Podcast. So on Instagram, a lot of people are asking me, what is the podcast about? And I can't answer that question because it's about everything and it's about nothing at the same exact time. There's too many topics to go around to be specific on one, and I don't know enough about one singular topic to talk about it the entire time. So we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. We're going to bounce around. Some weeks it might be more geared towards sports. Some weeks might be more geared toward politics. I'm going to take what's out there in society and what's relevant today, and we are going to run with it. Just some things about myself. I've kind of always been involved with technology, even though I suck at technology. It's always been a part of my life. When I was younger, my grandfather, John Aliasso, gave me a video camera, and I was probably around, 13 years old, something like that. And I would bring it around everywhere and record us doing stupid stuff like riding around in the four-wheeler, playing football, backyard football games, anything like that. So that's pretty much what sparked this. And from there, since 12 years old, I'm 29 now, it's still a part of my life. I coach high school football, college football. That has a technology portion to it. I also have some different things. One specifically is farm athletics. That's where we got a touchdown here, Hunter Henry. That's where, okay, farm athletics, we'll get into that quick. So basically, my fiance's father lives on a farm and he has a beautiful property. And one day I had a workout there by myself and I thought to myself, man, this is an ideal location to hold workouts. And I've always been involved in weightlifting, and I've put high school and college athletes through workouts for I don't know, probably 8 years now. So the aesthetics were there, the vibe was there, and I invited some of the college and high school athletes that I train up there to do a workout. And Joe has been there numerous times as well. And it kind of turned into a small business. And I named it Farm Athletics, and that's this logo right here. If you can see that, that's the Farm Athletics logo right there. I made some gear, some merch to give to the participants and some of the fans, and I started uploading stuff on Instagram, and people liked it. They liked it a lot. I got good feedback from it. A lot of the influence for this podcast has come from the feedback I got on Instagram, just putting up random stuff from the farm or just my everyday life. And people give me feedback and they like it. So I was like, yeah, all right, let's see where this goes. Maybe I could morph this into a podcast. And here we are, and we are live. A couple other things that I'd like to touch on and how I got to this point was, so Farm Athletics, I would record some of the workouts on the GoPro and put them onto Instagram and put some music behind them and edit them a little bit, and they'd come out pretty cool. And that was just a small portion of the, I guess, media company that I'm building. And then you go on to Fartin' Boys. Fartin' Boys season 1 is on Instagram, and I guess the host would actually be my nephew, Anthony. He's the host of Fartin' Boys. Kind of came together while we were in New Jersey, and he took my phone and started recording stuff, and it turned into a little short video that I put on Instagram. Again, got some pretty good feedback. So if you're interested in watching Fartin' Boys, it is on my Instagram, gscamp26, GSCAMP26. Go check it out. And there's a lot of different things that I've ventured into in my career thus far, in my leadership career. Some of those things are being a high school football coach. I work for the county of Oneida, and I run a program called College Core, where I don't hire, but other businesses hire interns to work for them through the summer. So I've met a lot of people that way, and I kind of got a good web of connections going on right now. and that's allowed me to have a good outreach on Instagram. So I'm hoping that those people that I've interacted with throughout my career here and follow me on Instagram will listen to the podcast and take something from it. There's also Camping in the Woods, where I watched this show called Alone, where people were left out onto a deserted island or a remote area, and there's, I don't know, maybe 15 people, and the last one standing wins the competition. So you have to fend for yourself, survive on your own, and you either tap yourself or somebody from the medical team comes and says, you can't go on any further in this competition, so we're taking you out. So I was watching that this summer. I was watching. I'm like, man, I need to do this. I love this. So I went and camped in the woods again on my fiance's dad's property, and I recorded it with the GoPro, and I put together a little video, and it's called Camping in the Woods. If you haven't noticed yet, a lot of the names for my podcast are very simple, or names for my videos are very simple. Like, for example, Camping in the Woods, Farm Athletics, Fartin' Boys, things like that. I like to keep things simple. So all of that was put onto my Instagram, and people gave me good feedback from it. And I've kind of always been a thoughtful person, an observant person, and I have a lot of notebooks filled with my observations. If you go through my notes on my laptop or on my phone, the Notes app, it just goes back to 2014 of different log thoughts that I have. So I figured, why not put them on a podcast for people to listen to? Maybe you agree with it. Maybe you disagree with it. Maybe it influences you to do something. Maybe it motivates you to do something. Maybe it makes you angry to do something. Whatever it does, hopefully it has an impact on you in some way, shape, or form. And we are here, and we are live. The other night, me and Joe went through a little bit of a practice podcast, a pilot podcast, and it was good. It was good. There was a lot of things we needed to improve on, and I'm sure we will improve as we move forward with the podcast, but we're here, and this is what we got so far. I'm in my basement right now. My two buddies are to the right of me, and we are going to have a good time tonight. Currently, right now on television is the San Diego Chargers and Oakland Raiders football game on Thursday Night Football.
Las Vegas.
Excuse me. Thank you. Las Vegas Raiders.
Isn't it the Los Angeles Chargers? It is the Los Angeles Chargers.
Did I say San Diego Chargers? Wow. 0 for 2 here. So the Los Angeles Chargers.
The Los Angeles Chargers
of San Diego. Went to San Diego 2 summers ago. Pretty cool place. And it's an important game for both teams. I don't like Justin Herbert because we took Tua Tagovailoa over him, and people are on my case about it. And I hate them for it. And I kind of hate Justin Herbert for it, too. So I would like to see him go down. Joe has any players currently playing right now in fantasy football?
Not in this game. I do not. I'm not going against anybody either.
Wow, so this is just easy watching for you right now. You could stress free. You could stay focused in on the engineering portion of the podcast, and you're going against Darren Waller.
Darren Waller, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler.
Wow, a lot on the line. You're going against all three of those guys. The trifecta. A lot on the line right now. You hope to see that the Raiders defense stands tough here tonight. So we're going to bounce around. We have a couple different topics that we want to talk about again. Let's just say I might be a little bit scatterbrained in here. I'm going to try and keep it on task and relevant, and hopefully it flows so that the listener isn't scatterbrained like I normally am. So we might as well go right into the COVID situation because that's very relevant today. Currently, Joe, what's going on in our area right now? The Oneida County has a lot of positive tests, correct?
Yeah, yep. So today, let's see where we're at.
I'm gonna drink beer. Let me just preface this in saying that I'm gonna drink beer on this podcast. None of my current players follow me on Instagram. I'm strategic in that way where I don't have any current players follow me, but former players that have graduated and moved on, I let them follow me because it's time. It's time. My athletes get most of me. I don't try and filter out too many things. They get most of me. So, but when it comes to things like Instagram and podcasting, they're not quite there. They have to graduate in order to get this side of me. So I'm going to drink beer. I'm going to swear. I'm going to try and use as many facts as possible, but I'm not.
We're not big fact checkers.
We're not big fact checkers here. We're not big. I might say something that's completely false, okay? But I'm going to say it with a good energy. With conviction. And you can fact check me later. Just don't DM me about it, okay? I said what I said, and I'm going to say what I say, and I mean it. So go ahead with the COVID talk.
So as of midnight, December 16th, you got 278 new positive cases, which brings it up to 8,702 total in Oneida County. There are 4,472 active positive cases, and there are 115 patients currently hospitalized in Oneida County.
So COVID is running wild through Oneida County, and it's pretty much running wild through the rest of the country. But if you were to look at a map right now, our numbers are relatively high. And since the get-go with COVID, I've always thought that the areas that are impacted the most, either they're very condensed and close together, which we're really not, or they're very unhealthy. So I just think of, why is Oneida County getting an impact from COVID? And is it because we're healthy? Is our diets wrong? Do we have an older population here? I don't know why the narrative around COVID isn't like we just need to be healthier as a country. Because apparently some of these other countries, and maybe the numbers are skewed or misrepresented, but apparently some of the other countries are handling COVID better than we are. And I just keep going back to, we're not the healthiest country in the world. And the narrative has never been around, we need to eat better, we need to exercise more. I don't know why. Maybe that doesn't sell. Maybe that doesn't appease to the American people. But immediately I feel like that's the most easy thing to do, is let's push the healthy narrative and eat better and diet better so that we can battle back from this virus. Another thing about the virus is, I think that we can't control it. I think humans can't control the invisible thing. The virus is, okay, where's the virus? Where is it? Can you see it? Can anybody see it? You can't see it. You can't see it, so humans cannot control it. And we think, because our egos are so big, that we think that we can control this virus by actions that we take. And we can control it to a certain percentage, but it is going to run its course because it's a virus and it's natural. So I think where the government is misstepping is that they think they can pull levers that'll decrease the spread of the virus, and those levers are not working, so they're pulling more levers, and it's impacting the rest of our society and our economy. For example, the situation with the restaurants, like the rules are, you got to write them down, you have them posted on a wall, you got to study them before you go into a restaurant. And to me, like, the mask, the social distancing, and what was the third one? The mask and washing your hands. Leave it at that. Done. You've pulled the right levers. Let's stick with that. But no, because we are egotistical maniacs and the people in government want to think that they have more control than they actually do, they pull more levers, and it's not working for us. It's actually impacting us more negatively than it should.
Oh.
So I don't like the rules around COVID. I think that the 3 beginning rules is what you stick with: wear masks, which people are doing, wash your hands, which people are doing, and social distance, which people are somewhat doing. Anything beyond that, you're doing too much, because you can't control a virus. The virus controls you. How you can control a virus, for me, is to be more healthy and have a better diet. And we can touch on that later, because that is a very interesting topic that I hold close and near and dear to me, is exercise and dieting. But we'll get back to that. Yes, Joe.
Before we move on from the COVID here, let it be known that in Oneida County there has been 344,238 total tests. There's been 335,536 negative tests. So, I mean, that's all in all, that's a pretty high number of people that are testing negative for it. I'm not a numbers guy. Judd's over here, a numbers guy. I don't know what the percentage is there, but it's got to be close to like
It's over 50% is negative.
over 50. Yeah, I mean, it's 335,000 say negative out of 344,000. So that's got to be like 95%, no?
Judd is a numbers.
Yeah. I thought it was.
He ain't paying attention
No,
over here, but
Judd is a numbers guy. One good thing about my friend group is they're
Stupid.
they're stupid. They're definitely stupid, but they're versatile. Like we got a lawyer, we got coaches, we got a numbers guy. They're not experts, that's for sure. None of us are experts, but we got a versatile group. And if I were to ask Judd to do the research on it, I'm sure that he would come back to me with some good numbers and some good statistics because he is a shit for brains, but he can focus in when he needs to. Yeah, the percentages for us are looking good, but still, we're still a standout county negatively. And I don't like that. We got to do better as a county. We got to be healthier. We got to be healthier, and we got to exercise more. We got to get out there. And I know that the politicians and the government is going to push that, but to me, that's the most sensible thing. So, COVID, the vaccine is coming out. So the vaccine is coming out. I hope that the attitude around COVID is going to be more positive, or we're going to move past it because the vaccine is out. I think this was the most important lever to pull from the government, and I think they executed it pretty well. And some people are going to say Trump executed it, and some people are going to say other people executed it. But regardless of who did it, it's being done right now. And we really need the vaccine to work. Because if the vaccine doesn't work, I don't see the plan beyond that. From the get-go, the vaccine has been the savior. And if we roll that out and it's not as effective as we once thought, I'm not really sure what the next plan is. Because you can't go beyond a vaccine. I know we talked last time, Joe, and Joe said that the vaccine doesn't work. It's not as effective as before, so you get back on the drawing board and you try it again. But that, to me, that's going to work, but that sounds like more time. And we need to get this thing taken care of ASAP. I hope that none of the listeners are impacted by the coronavirus, but it may happen to you, and you got to take it on as a challenge, and you got to battle back like it's a challenge to you. And you can't become a victim of COVID. You got to become a fighter, and you got to keep fighting back against it. That's my take on COVID. So we opened up the episode with COVID-19 because it's probably the most relevant thing in our society today. While we're on the COVID topic, there's another topic to touch on. That's the stimulus checks. Everybody's waiting for the stimulus checks. We got, how much was the original stimulus check? $1,200. I like that. That was cool. I got $1,200 deposited in my account. That was pretty awesome. But my concern with stimulus checks is there's a couple things. One is now, my dad taught me from a young age is to not accept anything for free, because if you accept something for free, you're going to have to repay it. Now my concern is what are we repaying on? Down the road, is the repayment that the government has more power because they took care of us with the $1,200 check? Or is the repayment that inflation is going to happen because of it, and we're going to go into some sort of a short, small depression era? If that's the case, then I don't want the $1,200. You could take it back. I'm just concerned. I'm as a semi numbers guy. I'm not an expert in anything. I like to think that I'm okay in numbers. If you just give $1,200 out to 50% of the population, somewhere around there, there's probably more. There's something else behind the scenes that's happening, and I'm a little concerned with that. So now next time through, they want to give us more stimulus checks, and now they're talking about $600. If you're going to do that, I mean, $600, I don't think that's going to get it. You might as well keep that because, again, what is the repercussions of getting the stimulus check back in? Go ahead, Joe.
let's give you a little information on what some other countries are doing for their population. So, even if you're out of work in England, they're giving the workers 80% of their salaries. Denmark, 75% of their salaries. South Korea, 70%. Netherlands, 90%. Our neighbors to the north, up in Canada, are getting $2,000 per month. Australia is getting $1,000 per month. And like you said, we had at one time $1,200 check and potentially a $600 check. So, not a good look for America.
Not a good look for the greatest country in the world and the most profitable country in the world. Again, I'm not sure if that is fact, but I mean, that's been portrayed to us that we're the greatest country in the world. I guess down the road, we can compare ourselves to other countries and how we handled COVID. I don't know if we can do that right now. So that other countries are giving money out, but again, are other countries, do they have the money in the bank? Do they have that money to give out? Or, like, I feel like the United States might be just printing money. There's more. They're stimulating the economy by inserting more money into the economy. When you start printing more money, that's when inflation happens. And I'm very concerned with that because everybody says that the United States is broke. Well, how the hell are we getting this $1,200 and $600 to give out to everybody if we're broke? So again, I think there's going to be long-term repercussions from this, and I just don't know if $600 is going to make or break anybody. Maybe for a short time, but I think there's other things that we can do on an individual basis, on a neighborhood basis, on a community basis that can help our people rather than the federal government saying, here's $600, keep your mouth shut. So if I wish we can have an option of seeing what the hell the $600 is coming from. Maybe we can have an economist on this show one day. I don't know any economists, though, to be honest with you. Judd's you know what? Judd's gonna do his homework, and he's gonna come back to the podcast someday with some good information. So that's a little bit about COVID. Very relevant in our society today. It's brought about some challenges, but there's a part of me that likes the chaos. Because I don't know what we're going to be here on Earth for 90 years, something like that. That's a short amount of time when you think about the Earth's life. So if I'm going to be here for 80 years, I kind of want to experience a little bit of everything. I want to be out on the edges of everything. And why not have the COVID-19 virus go running wild through our society right now while I'm alive? It's going to be written in the history books, and I can say that I was alive for it. So in that sense, it's kind of interesting. You could learn a lot from it. And if you take it from that point of view, it's not as depressing, because we should be thankful that we're here, and we're here on the G Money podcast, and we're down in the basement right now, even though there's a pandemic rip-roaring through the economy. We're here, we're smiling, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that the catchphrase for the pod?
That's the catchphrase. I don't know. That's always been my buffer. Is like we're here and we're live. That's always been my buffer.
It's a fact.
It is a fact. We're not gonna have many facts on this show, but that is indeed one of the facts.
But when they listen to it, we're not actually live.
See, that's also a fact. That's also a fact.
Wow.
It's okay. You got to throw that in there sometimes. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. The contrarian. That's it. That's a good topic we can come back to, because I feel like all three of us are contrarians to a certain degree, and against the grain, to a fault. And I think we can get back to that. So Joe, jot that down. We're gonna take a little intermission here, and we will be back in no time. We're back from intermission. Everybody, thank you for hanging in there and listening to the podcast. We appreciate all the listeners. I'm on episode 1. I just dribbled a little bit. You might have caught that. It just dribbled down my lip and onto my pants here. So episode 1, we got a drooling happening. This is the Juice Bomb IPA. I don't know if you're an IPA guy. you should try this out. It kicks you in the throat every time you take a sip, which IPAs I kind of like that. You got to feel every sip. So Juice Bomb IPA, it's Sloop Brewing. Yes.
Swipe up for 30% off. Use the
Swipe-
promo code CalJet.
Swipe up for 30% off.
Promo code
Sloop
CalJet.
Juice Bomb. Promo code KELJUT. Swipe up. We're going to have some ads on here. Last night I put on an ad about the firewood back there. I tried to run an ad. I didn't have anything in front of me, so I grabbed the firewood and I ran an ad. One of my ad ideas, this can generate some revenue, so bear with me here. Let me put this down. One of my ideas was to run ads on local businesses because you don't really hear about those when you're listening to podcasts. It's normally like the shaving guys, or it's something to do with betting or something like that. No, we're keeping like the men's shave club or whatever. You know, 20% off of that thing. Obviously, I don't partake in that, but I'm gonna try and shout out some local businesses and do it for free for a certain part of the podcast, and hopefully someday they can pay me for it because we got good ad people. If anything, we got good ad people.
Good ad readers.
We got good ad readers here. So we'll get to that at some point in the podcast. You know, you never know when your company is going to get shout out or your side hustle is going to get shout out while we're on the topic of the side hustle. Whether it be 2020 and the advancement of technology and the relevance of social media, people have been partaking in the side hustle pretty aggressively here. You kind of see on Facebook and Instagram, and everybody from 60-year-old people to 16-year-old people, they're starting to get their side hustle on. And I like it. I like it a lot. My concern with the side hustle, and I dabble in the side hustle a little bit. This is, for example, could possibly be a side hustle. My concern with the side hustle is, does it generate enough profit for you to be sustainable for you and your family? Or is it just a hobby thing and a creativity thing where you're expressing your creativity and you always wanted to have your own small business? But I just can't see the margins, the profit margins being enough for you to quit your job and take that on as a full-time career. Some people are lucky enough or smart enough to execute that, but I just don't know if a lot of them are sustainable long-term, where you're making $3,000 a month.
So a side hustle is always going to be a side hustle. It'll never be the
Ooh.
main thing.
I think that's the definition of a side hustle.
The side hustle remains
It remains a side hustle.
the side hustle remains a side hustle until it's not. So I'd like to see, what industries out there. I think a lot of industries are being created right now on Instagram, and I'd like to see which ones are profitable. I'm also interested to see how the hell people make money off of podcasts. I could go on YouTube it or look it up on, but I don't really like doing that. I like to figure it out on my own.
I think a lot of it is ad reads.
That the money comes from the ad reads.
Yeah.
And so let's
Merch.
get this clear, and I hope I don't mean to sound dumb here, but okay, you read an ad. All right, we have bean bags hanging up right here. I wasn't going to speak about those, but we have bean bags hanging up right here. I found them in the back room. Hopefully it adds to the acoustics and absorbs some of the sound. But say, for example, I'm reading a bean bag ad. The bean bag company's paying me to read the ad, right?
Yes.
And it's like advertising.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And there's a little discount, and it makes people go on the website and they purchase a bean bag, and hopefully they add something else to their cart and purchase that as well. It drives up the revenue for that bean bag company. And that's it. That's as simple as it gets right there.
Yep.
But they only advertise with people who have big followings.
Exactly. The bigger the outreach.
Yes.
Okay.
Someone who has an audience and people who do buy stuff who follow what that person supports or endorses.
Okay.
That's what they're looking for.
I'm a sucker for deals, so like if I'm listening to a podcast and I hear them talk about an ad that's interesting to me, I will go check it out, and then I'll end up wasting my money on something stupid. And I mean, just think about a podcast that has a huge outreach where you got 5,000 people who are just done with their money and will buy something dumb, even if it's at one time.
So it works because Joe just said that it works for him. So it works. I think there's there's an opportunity here with our small local businesses to run some ads for them. So while we're speaking on followers, we got yesterday on my Instagram account, I had 222 viewers. I don't know if that's a lot, but I feel like that's a lot. 222 people saw your Instagram story. I feel like that's a lot. So
Here's where I'll do my ad read for Soul Bowl.
Soul Bowl.
30% off.
Soul Bowl. New Hartford Shopping Center. New Hartford Shopping Center? No, definitely not New Hartford Shopping
Consumer
Center.
Square.
Consumer Square. Soul Bowl. Papaya?
Pitaya.
Pit-
Pitaya.
Pitaya? Is that really what it is? You're busting my
Papaya
balls.
is fruit, though, but
I'll give
pitaya.
Pitaya. If you like fruit, if you like, I guess it's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's really a dessert, but
It's like a health food dessert.
it's a healthy lunch dessert, and was originally in Clinton. Now it is in the Consumer Square. Soul Bowl, very good spot. They even got kombucha there, which I personally like. And if you swipe up, you get 30% off.
How about a good story about the girl who actually started Soul Bowl? She was like a sophomore in college and decided to drop out, and she planned on going back, but she had this business idea, and I believe her mother helped her get it off the ground, and she started Soul Bowl, and it got so big she ended up opening 2 locations. Now there's only 1 location, but she got it franchised, so people could actually buy a franchise of Soul Bowl and open their own.
That's a specific example of the side hustle becoming the main hustle.
Wow.
There is some revenue to be had, and there's some profit to be had in Pitaya Bowls. There's some profit to be had there, and she made that her main source of income, I'm assuming, because it's in Consumer Square. So maybe we can get her on the podcast.
Yeah,
Let's get her on
yes,
here,
honestly.
ready to rock, ready to roll. Really like her product. That brings the conclusion of episode 1 of the G Money podcast, of the Built Different podcast, of the podcast about nothing. We have 3 different names for the podcast. Maybe we'll put a poll out there and see if the people can decide. I think it's been a good run. It's been a pleasure sitting here with my friends Joe and Jut. We have discussed a lot of different topics. I think we're only going to get better from here. We're going to watch the tape. We're going to watch the film. And we're going to come back better than ever. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the conclusion of the G Money podcast. Can't wait until next time. We will see you then. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being me. And we are out. Goodbye.